benefits of not doing 50-50 with a man and having him pay for most of your dates and any gifts he wants to give you is not because I want free stuff or that I can't afford it myself, but it's rather that men do not appreciate, or people in general do not appreciate, what they don't have to work for and what they get for free. And also, if I tie up all my boyfriend's disposable income, then he can't go and use that to date other women and cheat on me. And this might sound toxic, but he's less likely to leave me as well because of the sunk cost fallacy. He already spent so much time and money on me, he's less likely to throw the relationship away. Call it power, call it control, call it manipulation, call it greed, whatever you want, but I call it covering my ass.
I call it all of those things, plus being a demon. That's what I call it, because this is so evil. This is so diabolical. And this is why, when women try to hold me accountable and say, Anton, oh, no, 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 no. All women, listen. Even the ones that are presenting themselves to be feminine, to be awesome, oh my God, whatever, they have ulterior motives. And it's not just for women that are black or white or Hispanic or Latino or any of that type of stuff. It runs the gamut, right? Because this woman is basically saying that she's using and manipulating him. Because I tell guys a lot of times that it's very important for you to vet the people that you're with in order to make sure that you're aligned with the person that you're supposed to be with. Otherwise, you're going to be sleeping with the enemy. So the very person that's supposed to have your best interests at heart is trying to, making sure that they're spending every dime that you bring in because of their own selfish reasons. They don't want the best for you, right? Because wanting the best for you in this situation would warrant a person, or would, warrant the actions of a person that wants you to save, or they want you to be more successful. Hey, why don't you invest over here? Nope, it's invest in me. Continue to let me spend all of your money. Continue to let me, take advantage of you as much as possible because of the sunken cost fallacy. The sunken cost fallacy is the idea that if you spend enough time or you spend enough resources with a person, then you don't want to lose that. You don't want to lose that sweat equity. And so the idea of it is that I got to stick with it because I didn't put too much into it. And I don't want somebody else to take advantage of it as a result of what it is that I did, right? And so women are manipulating men into staying in relationships, or at least they're trying, through this method. And it is the most deceitful, evil thing that I've heard. I thought that I had heard everything. I thought that I had heard everything. I thought that women had admitted. It didn't mean that, I had seen everything, but the amount of information that women are putting on the internet, basically telling on themselves, because we're assuming that if she's telling the truth, that this guy will never ever see this part of her social media. And if he does and he still's with her, then that's when we then start to label people as simp. Because I do believe that certain words on the internet is being overused. Even though it is applicable to a lot of the circumstances, a lot of the words are being overused, misused, and it's not really applicable to every situation. But in this instance, if he was to see what her intentions are and why she's trying to take advantage of him, not to have a good time, not to, not because she actually has a spending habit, or, because she just really wants to enjoy you. And so we then enjoy each other over these different memories that we're creating together. But instead, she's doing it because she's trying to manipulate him into staying into a relationship with her, and or trying to prevent him from having interest in other people instead of just being authentically you. She don't love this guy. She has no desire for him except for to take advantage of him. And then that's why I then say, well, if he does see this, then he will be designed, or he will be designated to be a simp, because that's the only way we can categorize a guy that knowingly knows that a woman is taking advantage of her. Right? And so I don't, bro. It's very difficult for me to trust when every single thought that it seems that come across my feed, or that goes into, the videos that y'all send me in my email, it's very difficult for me to look at y'all when y'all are willingly open to admit to y'all manipulation. And then I just start to think to myself, well, listen, if this is what they're willing to talk about, what aren't they willing to talk about, considering that they're supposedly still in a relationship? I, I'm blown away, honestly, but that's not the end of it.
Stingy guys are literally the worst, especially when they are actually wealthy. So that pisses me off even more because you could be making such a huge difference. You could be making more of a contribution, but you just choose not to. Like, you could easily afford it. It's not a problem for you, but they're literally just the worst. Like, they don't value anything that they can't get a major discount on. They're constantly thinking about how they can spend less money. And being with a man who you feel like is pinching and counting every single penny he ever spends towards you, it's just such a turnoff. Like, nothing dries up my more than that. Honestly, if it ever really came down to the choice, much rather date a generous, less wealthy guy. As long as he's generous towards you, that is all that matters. The richest guy who is super Scrooge McDuck could be a billionaire, but if he will not spend on you, if he will not be generous toward you, what good is that money for, honey? You are never going to see a single cent.
And both of these women are Asian. I want to make sure that I emphasize that right now. Both of these women are Asian. Now, you, the dummy, right? The guy that's the dummy, you think that she's with you because she likes you, right? And this goes for guys that don't even have a whole lot of resources, but you tricking and you spending it in order to try to make sure that you get some box or to make sure that you think they like you, right? And so a lot of times you'll see guys, because in her example, this shows fiscal responsibility. This shows that they didn't get rich because, or they didn't become wealthy or get a whole lot of resources because they were stupid. This says that they are very smart and they're also able to vet and see whether or not a woman is with them for their money and their resources, or if they're just with them to see, if they really love them. And so the quickest way to do that is to reserve or preserve your wealth and not spend it on people that don't value you, because in my opinion, and I say this all the time, that is reserved for your wife, right? You don't spend money on hoes. You don't go and trick off and all of that, because one of the reasons you don't do that is because how you start off is how you have to continue. And so in order to be able to ramp up, you got to start at a low point of entry, and the person also needs to be there for the right reasons. It's very much difficult, is that much more difficult for guys that got resources than guys that don't have resources. But the guys that don't have resources think that they're keeping up with the guys that do have resources, and they the ones that spending all of the money. And I told y'all, I said the guys that ain't even got it like that, and the guys that are just trying to figure it out and make it, and they finally get a raise or they making a decent amount of money. You may even get to the point to where you make $100,000 in a year, right? And that's not even a whole lot of money to be tricking off on, but you are the one that they are taking advantage of, not because they think that you are winning, because they know that you're the one that's going to spend the money. And so they'd rather go with you than the rich guy, because if the rich guy is fiscally responsible, but you out here spending the money like you ain't never had money before, and you not preserving your wealth that allows for you to be able to live the life you want to live for the rest of your life, you think you balling or you think you getting the baddie, when in reality, they smart, bro. They're smart. They are very smart, and they are very intentional on who they are targeting, and they don't care about how much money you got. They care about how much money you spending. Let me emphasize this one more time for y'all. Most of these women don't care about the amount of money that you have. In their mind, what is the benefit of being with a rich guy if he's not being super generous and she can take advantage of you? You better be careful. You better be mindful. I always like to make sure that I acknowledge the content creators, so that link is going to be down in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. You better be careful out here.